Hey guys, I just received the new Wayne Goss brushes and I wanted to get this review up as quickly as possible. Hey everybody, so today's gonna be a relatively quick review. I wanted to give you guys the first impressions of the new Wayne Goss brushes. I'll tell you a little bit about the brushes, I'll do some comparisons, and then I'll use them on myself so you can see how they work. First of all, they are incredibly soft. They are beautifully handcrafted. The wood is gorgeous. I mean, the design, I'll put my hand up so you can see. It's just, I mean, they look like calligraphy pens. Calligraphy brushes. They're stunning. So they're available on Beautylish. I think they are still available. They are $175 for this set. And there's the Artist Large, which is gray squirrel and Sokoho goat hair. There is the medium, which is gray squirrel. And the small, which is also gray squirrel. And I'll do some comparisons with some other brushes so you can see. They're handmade in Kumano, Japan. Maple wood handles. I mean, they are stunningly beautiful. There was no question that they weren't going to be, I don't think, guys. I mean, any of you who know Wayne Goss know that he makes beautiful brushes. I have a couple of his brushes and love all of them. So let's go ahead in the large brush. First of all, this one is gray squirrel and goat hair, and it's incredibly soft, but it feels like it has some, it's not so soft that it won't pick up things. Do you know what I mean? Like there's some products that frankly, when you use them, they are so soft that if you have like some of the harder products, they don't pick up anything. So I'm gonna go into my Terra bronzer, and I'm actually gonna kind of use this as a contour brush almost, because I thought it would work well for that. So we'll go in. Now it definitely picks up product, but I would say it is a softer, more diffused look, which is, I think, kind of the purpose of this type of brush. I don't think you're looking for, you know, like a lot of times like some of the more synthetic brushes or the harsher brushes, if you will, and not all synthetics are harsh, by the way. I wasn't trying to imply that they were, but you can pick up more product because they're scratchier almost. So this softness, you don't pick up as necessarily as much product on something that's like a baked product. But it is actually very soft and very nice. I'm gonna go in with the Indochi Pro, which is the Sonia G brush, on the other side. Now, the Sonia G brush, I believe, let me just double check. It's a similar shape, which is why I pulled it. It is goat hair. It is the Sokoho goat hair. So it has some of the hairs that the Wayne Goss does. But the Wayne Goss has gray squirrel in it as well. I would say it's a very similar feel. It's not as soft as the Wayne Goss, but the Wayne Goss has the gray squirrel in it. But it's a similar feel. You can see the brushes are similar. The Sonia G is bigger, fluffier. This one's a little more, well, a little more pointed, narrower. And like I said, the Wayne Goss is softer. The Sonia G, because it's just the goat hair, doesn't have the squirrel in it, is a little less soft, but it's still extremely soft, guys. I mean, goat hair is very soft, but the Sokoho goat hair is like the top of the line goat hair, so I mean, it's beautiful, but the squirrel is a little softer. I'm just feeling them both similar, very, very similar, but the Wayne Goss is a little bit softer. Okay, so that's gonna be my contour bronze today. Then we're gonna go in with the medium size brush. And for the medium, I'm gonna do highlight. And that picked up product very well. Again, a softer, more diffused look with this because it's such a soft brush. But it feels amazing on. I have very sensitive skin and that didn't irritate my skin at all. That's all gray squirrel, so that's gonna be a softer feel. I don't have anything to compare to this size-wise. The closest thing I could find was the Designer Pro by Sonia G, but it's not really the same shape at all. I mean, this is much more of a pointed, you know what I mean? It's just this is like more of that pointed calligraphy. This is more like a thicker, almost blunted at the top. So I don't have anything that's exactly that size. The closest I could get was the Rephr 18 brush, or maybe the 16, but the 16 is more like the small. Yeah, I think the 18 brush. This is also goat hair. Oh, I got stuff on it. This is also goat hair, also made in Japan. But again, the shape is just different. It's much more of a pointed, specific shape. This is a more rounded. You can see the difference. Compared to softness, the Rephr's pretty soft, but I have to admit, the Wayne Goss is like silk on your hand. It's pretty soft. It's pretty soft. It's a beautiful brush. I would also say though, if you're looking for something that's going to be like picking up a hard product, you might have a tougher time with the softer brushes. That's true for any softer brush. So a brush that's like a blue squirrel brush. I'm looking for my, here we go, my Chikuhodo. The Chikuhodo brushes, a lot of them, the top line Chikuhodos are blue squirrel. And I use those, these are like my powder brushes and my cheek brushes. They are incredibly soft. I mean, incredibly soft, bunny fur soft. And so they don't pick up a lot of product, which for me is fine because I don't usually want to lay down a bunch of product. But if you're trying to do like an intense eye look or something and you're trying to like put down a glitter, that is not going to work. You're going to need your finger, or you're going to need a brush that's denser and that has less soft bristles. But you get my meaning. All right, so the smallest one is the gray squirrel as well. Again, you can see the tiny, it's actually not that tiny. I'll put it next to the Wayne Goss 03, which is similar in size, but very different in shape. And if I look at 03, it is blue squirrel. So the 03 is a blue squirrel brush, and this is a gray squirrel brush. And the 03 is a little softer. To me, it feels a little softer. Not a lot though. I mean, it's close. It's very, very close. So I'm gonna use this, and we're gonna go into the Sisley. This is the Sisley Glow Gold. This is a single color shade that I've liked. And I wanna show you with this small brush what I mean when I say it'll be harder to pick up. Do you see how the way that it's going on? It's very light. I mean, it's not like it's not pretty, and it feels amazing. Like it feels like there's nothing on my skin, which is great, right? If you have especially sensitive skin like I do, you're gonna get a nice wash of color. And you can really get in there with this brush, like you can see how that works, like with the shape. Really pretty, just really beautiful. And like I said, it didn't irritate my eye at all. But then I just want to show you, I'm gonna go in with like the little sponge that comes with these things. I never use these, ever. But I want to show you the difference with texture. These sponge things, I don't know what exactly they are, sponge applicators, kind of mimic your finger, sort of. And I don't like them because they don't really give you any control over anything, and frankly they get dirty, and you know, there's lots of reasons. But I want to show you the color payoff difference between a very soft gray squirrel brush and a little sponge applicator, which kind of mirrors your finger. So I'm going to bring you in so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, we're extremely close now, but I'm just going to show you my eyes and then I'll zoom back out. Gray squirrel, gorgeous, felt super smooth, beautiful. But that's the payoff that you're gonna get. And then something like your finger or a sponge applicator. A denser brush, something that is not as soft, would probably give you something not like that, but maybe close to that. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Now, I am not in any way arguing that you should use sponge applicators to put your makeup on. I mean, if you do, that's fine too. It's not they're not bad. It's just, you know, if you keep using them, they get gross, and there's, I don't know. I just keep thinking like they get dirty. But anyway, and they don't give you control like a brush would. But you have to understand that something like a very soft gray squirrel, blue squirrel, even goat hair is, you know, it's a soft brush. And it feels soft on your skin and it's beautiful, but it's also gonna feel soft when it goes into a pan to pick up product. So you just have to be aware of that. You just wanna remember what kind of products that you're using and use the right tools for those products. The Sicily, the Le Fito Ombres shadow, it's a half powder, half cream hybrid texture, that particular one. So it can be a veil of color depending on how you use it. A half powder, half cream hybrid like that shadow, I usually use, I usually use a brush like the Sonia G Builder 2 brush for something like that. One, because it's a cream product, even though it's like half cream, but you know, it's not dyed. This has more of like a denser, they're not harsh, they're just a denser brush. You can pick up more product when it goes on. Those are the kinds of things you just want to keep in mind when you're putting down a product. Something like this, I also use my finger a lot. If I use like something that's like a pressed glitter or something that like, sometimes some of the Pat McGrath shades, I use my hands, I use my fingers, or I use a little bit of a denser brush. Not always, it depends. You really need to try out your products with your different tools and see what works. Skin texture also matters. Some people have oily skin, some people have dry skin. It does make a difference about how the product will go down. What kind of primer did you use? Did you use a primer? I mean, these are all things to take into account. There's no such thing as saying that, you know, these are the only types of brushes you should have, or that an inexpensive brush is a bad brush. Not necessarily. It's about what you're using them for, how often you use them. Sensitivity is also important. I have rosacea, I have sensitive skin. I like squirrel, goat hair products. I feel like they are much better for my skin. They don't irritate them. They don't, you know, rub on my skin. I don't get redness from them. That's very important to me. That might not be important to you. You might not have sensitive skin. So these are things to take into account when you're deciding what you want to purchase. What I would say about this particular set is that they are beautiful brushes. If you're a collector like me, if you have a channel and you're doing makeup a lot, or you're a makeup artist, these are gorgeous brushes, and I think anyone would want them in their kit. I mean, they're beautiful. They work really well. They're designed beautifully. They look gorgeous. They're nice to hold. They're heavy, but not too heavy. You know, they're like the perfect weight. The squirrel and goat in the larger one to pick up like more product for bronzer, or even highlight. You can use highlighter with this, or under the eye. All of those things I think is fantastic. I think that the way that they're made are just absolutely gorgeous. One thing I'm gonna show you, I have the by Terry powder here, and I have a very tiny, tiny one. This is the hyaluronic. And what I would tell you about the by Terry hyaluronic is that I love this powder. I do. It's a gorgeous powder. But the problem with it, in my opinion, and maybe this is just me because my skin is so dry, that I can only use the tiniest amount of this powder. Like, so little, it's insane. So, this type of brush, I think, is gonna be perfect because it leaves such a, like, it's such a light touch. I think, and I'm right, look how perfect that is, guys. So this is a trick that I learned a while ago. This hyaluronic powder is an amazing, amazing under eye setting powder. Awesome. But if you have dry skin and you use too much of it, you look terrible. Like awful. The lines get worse. I mean, it's bad. I don't know. For years, everyone was talking about this powder. I'm like, oh, you know, and I tried it, and it just, every time I used it, I looked awful. And then I was like, you know what, I was gonna try, like, I think it was an accident, to be honest with you. I think I tried doing something and I only had a tiny bit left or something. And I went like this with my finger, just patted it in, and I looked fantastic. Like my under eye, look right now. It looks smooth, perfect. There's no line, well, there's lines, but I'm almost 50, so there's gonna be lines. But you know, I mean, it looked gorgeous, and I was like, oh, so now what I do is I have like these little tiny sizes, little tiny travel sizes, and I just, you know, take a tiny, tiny bit out, and then I pat it on with my finger, and it's huge pain because I'm just like, oh, can't put too much. But this, haha, this is perfect. So this is the medium size, and honestly, all I did was dip it in at the tiniest amount and just, look, went like that. It's perfect for your under eye. It's like, for me anyway, that's perfect. I've found my, and that alone was, I mean, I know it's a lot of money, guys, but that alone is worth the price for me, because I've been trying to figure out a better way than just patting my finger in there, and this is the perfect size. So I'm extremely happy. I would be extremely happy even if I hadn't figured that out. But they're beautiful, they're soft. I hope he makes more of them. I love them. You know, I'm a big fan of brushes. I've done a brush video, I'll link it above. My top 10 brushes. I have a lot more than that. I have a lot of brushes. And I think they're an important tool. Like I was saying before though, it's not about, like, you don't have to have the most expensive brushes. There are less expensive brushes. The rougher brushes, which are expensive, but you know, I think somewhat reasonably priced, are great brushes. Wayne Goss in general, his brushes aren't as expensive, like the 03, it's not as expensive as these. BK Beauty has some beautiful brushes. Those are synthetic brushes that I have. Those are gorgeous. So, you know, there are other ones out there. I would just say I tend to go with the more expensive brushes because I'm doing makeup all the time. My skin is very sensitive and I have rosacea, and for me, it's worth it. But that's not to say that if, you know, first of all, these are expensive, I get that. And two, maybe you don't use brushes all the time. And if you don't, you know, don't spend your money there. But if you are interested, these are definitely worth it. This one alone, I'm very excited about the under eye things, guys, sorry. But yeah, that's just the perfect shape. And this brush, the small one, I really like for the ability to do this, because that's just like a really nice, natural shape for me. I think that's really pretty. And for a looser, like for a shadow that's not as hard, I think this will work beautifully. It'll also be great for something I just want to do a light look. And this is going to be great. You know, I didn't try a cheek product with it, but I bet you, do I have a cheek? Yeah, let me do a quick cheek product with it. This is the Tom Ford blush. Oh yeah, that works beautifully. Look at that. And for me, that's exactly what I want, because I do not like a intense cheek color. Now I know a lot of you guys do, and that's cool. But like for me, I like more diffused cheek color. and because I have rosacea, so I don't like anything too strong. Look how pretty that is. Yeah, that looks really nice. Okay. So I'm done for today, guys. See, I told you it'd be quick. Thanks so much for joining me today. There are a bunch of videos coming that are, sort of back to back. I know I usually only do 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm doing a lot more than that right now, but there's been so many new releases and I wanted to get them out to all of you. This Wayne Goss, I didn't want it to wait, so in case they sell out. So I wanted to do the review, quickly. His brushes do sell out. His like limited releases, or they're usually gone. So I wanted to get this out today if I could. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, if you could hit like, if you could hit subscribe, that would be awesome. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you like what I've been doing in terms of content. Also, there will be I will be giving back to my subscribers relatively soon. So if you're interested and you like my content and you like my channel, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. See you in another video really soon. Bye-bye.